Hey guys, Igor here, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how to up your stickman drawing game. So in front of me I have an older sketch that I did many years ago of little army dudes. I've posted this in one of my sketchbook overview videos, and I had a couple comments of people asking to show them how I create these. So that's what I'm going to do in today's video. I'm going to show you the process of drawing little figures like this. They could be army guys, they don't necessarily have to be. And I'm going to talk about the process and hopefully teach you a thing or two. So in front of me I've got basic printer paper. I've got a couple copies just in case I want to try a couple different things. And the tool that I'm going to be using is a Papermate mechanical pencil. Don't even know what kind of model this is. It's a 0.7 millimeter. Very basic tool that I've had for many years. So let's do some warm-up sketches. I'm going to fast forward this part. When I'm done, we can take a look at what the result is, and then from there we'll do one step by step. Alright, so here are a couple sketches I did in just a little bit under 15 minutes. With using a pencil, you can see there's a lot more variation in line darkness, so that's something that you have to consider. With an ink pen, you're kind of working with just one type of opacity, and it sort of simplifies things, but you can't erase any mistakes you make, so it's one of those pros and cons type of deals, so you got to choose what's best for you. So let's go ahead and draw something from scratch, and I'm going to break it down step by step. If you look in the sped up version, you can see I took a couple different approaches to drawing some of these guys. So for example, let me move this paper so that I'm not blocking the camera. For example, I often start with a half circle for the helmet, and everything from this point will dictate kind of what the position is. Sometimes I have a position for the character in my mind, and other times I just kind of freehand it. So here I'm going to do a slight upwards curve and draw his head in. And I like to stay loose, and I don't focus on, if you're looking at a traditional stickman, you'll have a head. Maybe if you're not doing a stick, you're doing a block for the body. You know, you might have like the pelvis and the legs, and then the arms come out of that. Or if you want to simplify it even more, what you'll typically see is a thin body and then the arms coming out of this area. So to make your character a lot more realistic looking, if you go to this type of stickman, you can see the shoulders are now pushed out further. So the arms are not coming from this center chest point, and it starts to look a lot more, it starts to resemble what it is, you know, that we see when we look at a human. Then the pelvis same concept. It pushes the legs outward. And when I do my drawings, it's kind of a iteration of this version where I'll draw things like shoulders and arms. Then I'll go down and keep some width on the pelvis, and as I blend inward, I get the figure. I connect the legs, depending on the angle or how squatted he is. As you can see, this guy goes wider than this guy, so here we have an A shape, like a pyramid, and here we have a more rounded circle, or more rounded line. And then if you want, you can include the feet. In this older version that I showed you guys earlier, there are basically no feet. There's just little lines going downwards. So feet are optional. I do advise that you add little details like the pants clumping up above the boots, things like a belt line, the V-necks, or just collars. If your guy's wearing a shirt or a jacket, you might have long sleeves, you might have short sleeves, so you want to include all little indicators of that. And the idea is to pack in a bunch of detail but not make it overly rendered, because what allows this to work is the impression aspect of it. You just give an impression of him holding a weapon or having a backpack with a bunch of stuff on it, and that can be represented with a ton of little squiggly lines, things being shaded or stuff overlapping. So to kind of sum up all of this into one thing is avoid sticks. It's kind of one of those like really straightforward advices. Is if you want to draw a better stick man, just don't stay away from sticks and focus more on the silhouette of the character. And it can be really, really simple. Before you add any details, I'm going to use this little shape to show his arm is folding that way, away from the viewer's eye. And the other hand might be coming down along his chest. This will be his body. Let's run it down and draw one of the legs, and the other leg on the other side. So now that we've got his feet drawn, this other hand, we'll stop somewhere around here. I gotta erase a little bit. It was curving somewhat strangely. And then we're gonna give him a weapon. And then in this hand we might give him like a cigarette. So draw what might look like a fist. You can draw a little line and make it darker. Sometimes the advantage of using a pencil is you can put focus on specific details of the character. So here I'm going to go ahead and draw his boots in. Give him a belt a little bit higher up. Draw a holster or some sort of container for ammo. Give him his backpack. You can draw the backpack straps. You don't have to. I wasn't doing that on a lot of stuff. And here we could just give him a little bit of smoke. So on its own, the stick might be confused with something, but adding smoke out of his mouth, you already can kind of picture that he's just smoking a cigarette. Now, guns, a block like this doesn't really look like a weapon, but as soon as you start attaching sights or carry handles, it really starts to give the impression of a weapon once again. So here we have a machine gun, we got a barrel with a little sight, here we have the magazine, and then the guy is gripping the gun, ready to fire. So some smaller details you might want to pay attention to is how the front and rear sights match up with one another. Like, the details are the fun part, and what's cool about drawing these little guys is you're done with the drawing really quickly, and then you can spend majority of the time adding little gadgets or things like, dings in the helmet. You can draw these straps on the side of the helmet. You can even add shading or lighting, and that'll help elevate your drawing, to a more detailed state. Something that, begins to look like, oh wow, you spent so much time doing this, but in reality, it's all very, very quick. So again, to kind of wrap all of this up, stickmen, stay away from little points like this, and instead separate out, include the shoulders, include the pelvis, but don't actually think of it as shapes. Think of it more as a silhouette, a kind of beanbag that moves around, and it's got legs and hands. And then when you start refining all of it and making minor adjustments, it's going to start looking like a dude, and it's going to start looking far better than what a traditional stickman might have otherwise looked like. And this is also great if you are learning animation or you're drawing the same character in different poses. It's going to help you differentiate, between somebody who's facing forwards or a stickman that's facing sideways, which looks just like this. Like, this doesn't look like a dude, as opposed to something like that. Alright, so hopefully you guys learned a thing or two from this somewhat quick video of how to improve your regular stickman drawings. Remember, silhouettes, blob stuff together, scribbles and little hashes and dots are all your friend to help make impressions of what it is you're actually drawing, so that the viewer can kind of fill in the blanks, and that speeds things up for you. If you want to take a look again, just to show you, here we have some splatters for blood. We've got a guy chucking a nade. You've got a dude shooting with little dots coming out, and these are the rounds being ejected. You've got some guy taking a whiz. This dude running with dust behind him. All these little details give a little bit of character and life to your drawings. So, try to include them from time to time, and you're going to get more and more comfortable with it. And then next thing you know is you're just scribbling these guys everywhere, creating a short story or something with them. But yeah, for the most part, we are done here. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more videos. Remember to drop a comment. Let me know what you want to see. I'm going to try to be a little bit better about reading everything and replying to you all. Thanks as always, and have a good one.